hi there. Welcome to the Freedom Alternative. First of all, many thanks to Andrei Kostea for the new intro. Please tell me in the comments if you like it. Okay, now let's get down to business. It seems that I've struck a chord with my Bernie Sanders video. Great, because I'll strike some more and I don't care how much you will be offended. But you might want to watch this video. So, what better way to offend a leftist than to prove that exactly those who call me a fascist are, well, fascists themselves. So what I'm going to do is go to Wikipedia and take a look at the Fascist Manifesto and compare it with the modern left. So, the Fascist Manifesto, published in Il Popolo d'Italia on June 6, 1919, is divided into 4 sections describing the movement's objectives in political, social, military and financial fields. And it goes like this. Politically, the manifesto calls for universal suffrage with a lowered voting age to 18 years and voting and electoral office eligibility for all 25 and up. Well, the modern left is even beyond that. The progressive stronghold, San Francisco, is considering lowering the voting age to 16. Similar discussion is indulged in the United Kingdom, in Wales to be more precise. Links in the low bar for more intel on that. Okay, let's read further. This is going to be so good. Proportional representation on a regional basis. Okay, that's not so contentious. Voting for women. Who would have thought? I guess those using the term feminazi may be onto something after all, isn't it? Anyway, representation at government level of newly created national councils by economic sector. Well, the modern left is smarter than that. They only wish to consult the experts on the matter, experts who just happen to be in the same fields that the left wants to regulate. A perfect example is the so-called green energy, an industry which is so unprofitable that if it were to exist as a legitimate pursuit in the free market, it would have been gone long time ago. But since it's a pet project of the eco-Marxist left, it survives by forcing the rest of us to subsidize it using the force of the state. Congratulations, leftists, you outsmarted Mussolini on this one. Let's go further. The abolition of the Italian Senate. Well, in the US, progressives such as William Jennings Bryan fought tooth and nail to get the 17th Amendment, which essentially abolished the Senate's original intent. Initially, the Senate was supposed to represent the states in the Congress, whilst the House of Representatives was supposed to, well, represent the people. But the left didn't like that because it prevented the federal government from meddling with the states' funds and thus limited the power of the federal government. By the same token, Mussolini didn't like the fact that the Senate had the power to prevent the implementation of similar fascist measures, such as limiting the power of the Italian regional authorities. The only difference is that the fascists wanted it abolished, whilst the left only abolished its power. The same thing, really. Anyway, let's read further. This is getting interesting. The formation of a national council of experts for labor, for industry, for transportation, for the public health, for communication, etc. Well, you mean like the Ministry of Labor that exists everywhere in Europe? Or the US Department of Labor? Or maybe the US Department of Agriculture? Or the US Department of Transportation? All of them dating back to the progressive area. So who is really the fascist here? Let's read some more, because it's getting very interesting. In labor and social policy, the manifesto calls for the quick enactment of a law of the state that sanctions an 8-hour workday for all workers. Well, just like any other progressive. A minimum wage. Whoops! Progressive claptrap again. The participation of workers' representatives in the functions of industry commissions. Well, same thing. To show the same confidence in the labor unions as is given to industry executives or public servants. Okay, on this one, the fascists were even more progressives than the modern left. The modern left the modern left seems to no longer believe that labor unions are on the same level with the state secretary. Okay, next 3 are interesting. Reorganization of the railways and the transport sector. A revision of the draft law on invalidity insurance. Reduction of the retirement age from 65 to 55. Oh, you mean like Greece? The same Greece that is ruled by, oh wait, the coalition of the radical left. Very interesting. So again, who is the fascist here? In military affairs, the manifesto advocates the creation of a short-service national militia with specifically defensive responsibilities. The modern-day left also thinks that none of us should be able to defend ourselves by bearing arms, but rather the state should have militias to defend us. Quelle surprise! The manifesto demands also armaments factories to be nationalized and a peaceful but competitive foreign policy. Does this sound new to you? The modern left also wishes a peaceful foreign policy. Just let Iran get its nukes, let Russia do whatever it pleases in Ukraine. That's a peaceful foreign policy for you. In finance, the Fascist manifesto reads exactly like the manifesto of any social democratic party in Europe or like the Daily Kos. And it goes like this. A strong progressive tax on capital, envisaging a partial expropriation of concentrated wealth, the seizure of all the possessions of the religious congregations and the abolitions of all the bishoprics, which were the dioceses, which constitute an enormous liability on the nation and on the privileges of the poor. Revision of all contracts for military provisions, the revision of all military contracts and the seizure of 85% of the profits therein. Seriously, no leftist worth his salt would oppose any of these proposals on finance in the Fascist manifesto, at least not on principle. Sure, in practice, modern leftists are less confident in advocating the seizure of religious congregations' properties, but they're very confident in advocating the first step of that, namely to remove their tax exemption status. More to the point, the leftists are little less honest than the old fascists. The fascists had no qualm in saying partial expropriation of wealth, whilst the progressives will only say pay their fair share, in which the fair share is always defined as confiscatory, as we've seen in France, where François Hollande instituted a hate tax of 75%. So, are we clear? Look, next time you want to call me or anyone else a fascist, make sure you understand what that word means. Because you, my dear progressives, have far more in common with genuine fascists than you'd be really ready to admit or than you know. Because being progressive nowadays seems to equate with being politically ignorant. You're no different than the fascists. You're all a bunch of socialists. And with that being said, don't forget to click the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter @FreedomAlternat, and consider supporting this channel. Thanks for watching.